I think we're all very aware that there's a very negative portrayal of guns and gun ownership in the media in this country. If 5 people are killed by guns, the media will talk about it for 2 weeks. If 50 people are defended by a firearm, it'll never get mentioned. The bias is pretty obvious. In fact, it borders on slanderous. Yet there's still a segment of our population that says, well, if we ever got to a point where the government was targeting people for firearms ownership, the citizenry would rise up. They would see this and they would revolt. It'd be the second Civil War. But because of that very media bias, I kind of have to disagree with that. I think that we would be so demonized in the media that most people, the vast majority of people, would sit back and say, boy, I'm glad they got that guy. Because if you ever sat and thought, how would the media portray me if I was targeted, or even if I was just charged with something normal that someone else was charged with, would I be portrayed differently if I owned guns than they would be if they didn't? I think you would be portrayed differently. So I actually, on a forum years ago, I sat down and I did a little thing about how would the media portray me if I was ever one of these people that was targeted, or if I was just arrested for something. What would it look like in the media? What would it look like on the news that night because of the fact that I owned guns? So I sat down and I wrote this a long time ago, so I thought I would do it here for you now so you can see what I'm saying. So this is a little clip of how I think it would show up on the news that night if I was the person being targeted, if I was the person being charged with something. Here's what they'd have to say about me. This is Dick Whitler coming to you live from the scene. Today I'm coming to you from the home of accused domestic terrorist Mr. Yankee Marshall. Now, local authorities first made contact with Mr. Marshall today during a routine traffic stop. Officers became suspicious when he began to act belligerently towards officers on the scene. At that time, they also learned that Mr. Marshall was carrying a concealed and loaded firearm. After detaining Mr. Marshall, officers searched his car, and they found quite an arsenal inside his car. They found multiple high-caliber semi-automatic handguns, hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Also found were knives, a hatchet, and various survivalist gear, including enough food and water to last for several days. Upon obtaining a search warrant for Mr. Marshall's home, investigators later found a vast arsenal of weapons stored in that home. What they found contained over 50 firearms, consisting of handguns, shotguns, multiple assault rifles. These weapons were found in his car, truck, and stashed throughout his home. Also, a large concentration of weapons were found hidden in safes inside of his garage. Among the weapons found were several high-capacity semi-automatic handguns, multiple high-capacity assault rifles, short-barreled shotguns, several small, easily concealed handguns, multiple extremely deadly high-caliber revolvers, and multiple high-caliber rifles capable of penetrating police body armor. Also found were multiple loaded magazines for the assault rifles and the semi-automatic handguns, large stores of ammunition for both, multiple knives and other weapons such as tasers, pepper spray, and materials for building high-powered explosives, along with the information needed to build those explosives. Finally, police discovered light body armor and mass stores of food and water, enough estimated to make Mr. Marshall able to withstand a police assault for several months inside his home. The suspect was also known to frequent local gun shops, gun ranges, and internet forums for gun fanatics and other anti-government extremists, and he himself has been known in recent time to be engaging in anti-government activity. When I spoke to Mr. Marshall's neighbors, they described him as a quiet man that kept to himself, someone who spent most of his time in his home with his family and didn't really engage much with the neighborhood. So I think I can speak for everyone tonight when I say I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief that Mr. Marshall is off the streets today. And when they say it like that, even I'm glad they caught me. You ain't even my real dad.